What's up, guys? It's Josh back with SobrietyWoD. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So, I was thinking today about Tradition 3, and Tradition 3 talks about in AA and NA, the tradition talks about how the only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking or using. And, I was thinking about how thankful I am for that fact or that reality, because whenever I got into the program, whenever I first was trying to get sober, that's pretty much the most that I could muster. If there would have been any sort of requirement that said I had to adhere to a certain strict set of principles, or I had to, for me, had to be at the meeting on time in order to be a member, I wouldn't have made it. If I had to pay attention the whole time, I wouldn't have made it. If I wasn't allowed to just sort of come as I was, if I had to change things before I could come, I wouldn't have made it. And, I'm really thankful for the fact that that tradition is in place, and that idea, that principle is adhered to at varying levels, I suppose, but that tradition is adhered to across the community, because it keeps the door open for people that really need what we have, And I was thinking about some of the things that tradition helps us to maintain, some principles that it helps us to stick by. And the first one is that as we grow and develop and progress, that we never forget about the newcomer. It's easy, like, I'm working on 6.5 years now, and it's easy to kind of forget about the newcomer, because my problems today and most of our problems today are different than they are even a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. They're different. Things are changing. Things are new. And one of the things that this principle helps us do is stay focused on the reality that we have to be there for the new people coming in. Just because we may be somewhere else in our progression doesn't mean we can't remember what starting out is like. And that's the second thing that I put that this tradition really helps us with, is to remember where we came from. So none of us started off sober. None of us started off spiritual giants by any means. And, keeping this in mind helps us to keep focused on who we really are, where we really came from, and what we need to continue to get by. So for the little discussion today, I thought it'd be cool if we kind of just talked about whether or how you feel if you would have made it, if there would have been a lot of requirements kind of heaped upon you whenever you first thought that you might have a problem or started seeking help. If you had found that you had to jump through all these hoops or over all these hurdles in order to just kind of come around and see if maybe it was for you, would you have made it? And so you guys just kind of hang out, maybe talk about your experience with that, and how you feel about that idea in general of not having this huge barrier to entry for people coming into the program, for people getting involved in recovery. And then as soon as we get back from that, we'll talk about how the similarities of that with CrossFit, and then we'll get into this workout.